Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.
Kyrylo, thank you very much for this opportunity. It's a pleasure to talk about the crypto market, which experiences some very interesting times. Now, especially the last part of the bull run, especially due to the election results in the US, even before the elections, and all the promises that had been made in the United States. So it's very interesting for me to discuss these topics with you.
Thanks for having me, Georgy. I really like to be in Georgia, and thanks for the invitation. Hopefully we have a good discussion today.
Yes, we'll talk about Georgia for sure, but let's start by discussing the trends of the market. Before we jump into any particular questions, I'd like to see your assessment of the current situation of the crypto market globally.
It's an interesting time, and as you rightly said, we are in the middle of the bull market. That's hopefully will continue for some period of time, expectedly for the 2025. The industry has been living in some interesting new features. So some old features are going away. So for example, like NFT, GameFi, these types of things, they did not survive the previous bull market. Instead, we see some new interesting trends like top games, like meme coins. That's definitely driving the retail interest. And some exciting stories that we are hearing every day. They like you invested $100, then tomorrow is like $1 million, etc. It seems more like a little bit like a casino to me. So it doesn't really add a lot of the value for the industry as such. However, people are really trying to get rich overnight, and some can, right? So it's okay. So if users want it, that's an interesting product, which obviously doesn't create a lot of the long time value. I mean the meme coins, but rather give this casino, gambling, betting for these users who has the appetite. Much more important things are happening from the institutional side and from the Bitcoin adoption side. So you know, the ETFs in US halving, and the new focus of the new administration to support crypto and to make the US the capital of the AI and crypto, and the steps that are happening in this perspective, not just declarations, right, but also executive orders that have been signed so far, especially the team that's working on this. Everybody who is in this industry now is coming from crypto, so are really aware what crypto is and are very crypto friendly. The fact that the regulation are being now prepared for the stablecoin as the stage one by a group of the serious experts, right, good experts, and expected Bitcoin strategic reserve, either for US as the country or separate states, as well as the different other countries. So for example, recently Bhutan has acquired a lot of the crypto. They had the BTC, Ethereum, and BNB, our coin. So hopefully it's not just US but other. And this started from the States, but we also see a lot of adoption from the institutional, from the funds, from the capital markets, traditional brokers, etc., etc. So this gives a lot of the positive expectations in terms of how the Bitcoin price will be improving.
I'd like to structure our interview based on the chronological order of the things that happened during the last 1.5 years, let's say so. And I'd like to start by talking about ETFs, which was a major driver for the markets, for the price of digital assets. But I'd like to ask you a very non-traditional question to, in a way, play devil's advocate in a way. Because, you know, crypto, especially Bitcoin, was about the new money, the new people having money. But, you know, with ETFs, even though the market reacted positively, now we see a lot of the older players like BlackRock or basically any other company that issued the ETFs, now they have been accumulating a lot of Bitcoin. Do you see that as a some kind of threat to the original idea of Bitcoin?
I wouldn't see it as a threat. So Bitcoin is the freedom of money, right? And that's why it shouldn't be limited to anyone who wants to buy it, whether it's a physical person, you, I, or the corporation, or the bank, or the government, right? It should be available for anyone. So I don't see any significant risks there. Traditional markets, they are wrapping Bitcoin in the instruments that are acceptable, known, and easy to use for their users. And I think it's okay, right? As long as they hold in custody the same amount of the Bitcoin, I don't see anything bad in this regard. Interestingly is that a lot of the companies started to buy Bitcoin. So there's a couple of views about that. So definitely the things like MicroStrategy, now called Strategy, what they're doing with selling this capital, this pure Bitcoin capital, is a very interesting business model. And there is many other companies that are doing this to invest. However, some people are saying that the companies who do not invest in their own growth, but rather invest to the Bitcoin as the strategic asset, can then face some serious issue if the Bitcoin goes down. Because we need to remember that the market is still very volatile.
Even with the companies, we see the trend of countries. I could not call it trend yet, but El Salvador, for example, I visited a few weeks ago. Incredible country, and what they're doing there is so interesting to see. Do you envision this trend to continue in the future? Maybe some developing countries such as El Salvador, which is not a big country, adopting this Bitcoin first strategy, investing in Bitcoin, Bitcoin mining, for example?
I have never been to El Salvador. I want to be there one day too, so really interesting. But what I know is that this year, just a couple of months ago, at Davos in Switzerland, a lot of the companies were approaching Binance leaders, the traditional financial companies, banks, and they were much more friendly. They were much more open to the partnerships, integrations, etc., as well as many countries too. So you would be surprised, but a lot of the countries in the world are thinking now of adding cryptocurrency as their strategic reserves. It's either additionally to their capital reserves, right, or instead of it, to start earning money on this. So we've seen a couple of cases just recently. US obviously declared this. Bhutan has bought BTC, Ethereum, and the BNB, Binance coin, to their strategic reserve. Abu Dhabi has bought 400-something million of cryptocurrency. So I think this trend will be developing very fast. And in my scope at Binance, there is a lot of developing markets. So we are currently in the discussion with a couple of the governments that wants to have BNB as a strategic reserve. So this is a very interesting discussion, and I think a lot of news will happen in this space soon.
Do you think this was a bottom-up trend when the countries themselves decided that, okay, we are going to invest into crypto? Or it was highly motivated by whatever's been happening in the US, especially with Donald Trump, and him being very pro-crypto recently?
So I think it's both, right? Obviously, Bitcoin is the best asset ever created by the humankind, right? So if you compare it to gold, to the US dollars, to the real estate, to the Nasdaq, etc., it's overperforming everything. So it's like people are seeing this, companies are seeing, governments are seeing this, right? And they just want to have their share of possibility to earn on their assets and on their capital. But secondly, yes, of course, the US remains the biggest economy in the world and the front on the front of any changes, both positive and negative. So the signal that US sends is very important for other governments to follow. So, for example, MiCA, a European regulation, seems to be quite advanced, but it's tough to do too, right? It's complicated. So the Europeans envisioned that this is a very positive trend, but now when they're seeing what's happening in the US, they actually start thinking whether or not it's flexible enough and supporting businesses enough and the users enough. So that's how it is important for US to set up the trends globally.
But the thing is that the US was not always like that, because during the previous administration there was Gary Gensler, who, it's obviously a very subjective thing to say, but many people claim that he was very against crypto. Now things have changed very drastically. But I'd like to ask you in practical terms, what does that mean? It's been several months since, not even like 1 month since inauguration, and then several months since the whole processes began in terms of this crypto friendliness of Donald Trump. How did the things change on the ground in the US in practical terms?
So I don't know any insider information because I have no relationships to this market. So basically all the information I can share is what I get from the news, same as you do, right? But definitely a couple of the good things has happened. So Binance and SEC has recently, I think it was last week or the week before last, has issued a statement that they both jointly agreed to postpone the litigation in the SEC case. So it's definitely a positive signal. So instead of the regulation by enforcement, I think the direction now, at least from this open source information, is regulation by providing a proper support and the terms and the frameworks. It's very important. I also know that the new leadership of the SEC and of the SFTC are very crypto-friendly, understands the crypto very well. And I also know that there is a separate group that is preparing the new crypto regulation. So hopefully it's going to be the good thing. And overall, I'm seeing the direction that they want to understand what to do with all these lawsuits that was created by the SEC.
Before we jump into lawsuits, because that's an important part of our topic, I'd like to ask you about the Donald Trump's persona, because what he did recently with the meme coin launch is something new. We've seen meme coins made by famous people, obviously, but it haven't been on this big scale. When the president of the United States issues his meme coin, then the first lady also issued a meme coin. So this is something very new for the market. In your opinion, what is this? So why did that happen?
I think it's just following the trend and expanding on the trend, right? There is a lot of people who are into the meme coins. There is a lot of hype. There is a lot of attention. There is a lot of news and lines in the media, right? And I think it's just the way, one side of the crypto industry at the moment, right? The meme coins. And basically this Trump coin has elevated the meme coins, as you said, to another level now. So I think we will see more and more, and it's going to be both positive and negative releases. So you remember what happened with the President Milei in Argentina, this huge scandal. However, I'm sure that we will see more and more meme coins from the famous people, from the politicians, from the opinion leaders, from the governments, maybe in the future. So I know that there is a huge portion of our community that's now they have the word, which is snipers, right? Who are just sitting and looking for these meme coins that have a big potential. Just a word of caution. Need to remember that every day thousands of the new coins are being introduced to the market, and only very, very small portions of it has a potential to grow. However, people are interested in this, and it's just a trend.
Another thing that's been very notable in the market recently is Ethereum, which is very stable at this moment, more or less, but stable at the prices which are not comparatively high to the market average. Basically, one could say that Ethereum didn't experience the growth that other cryptocurrencies have. What's going on there?
Ethereum is a very good stable coin. It's stable at $2,600. No, I'm joking. There was recently the meme in the internet about Ethereum being a stable coin. I mean, I wouldn't really comment on the specific projects, but I think all the altcoins are basically experiencing some issue, unless a few coins like Solana or BNB or some meme coins. I haven't seen a lot of the altcoins performing that well, and this is driven to what we discussed, right? That the Bitcoin has received this significant crypto adoption on the government level through the ETFs and with the companies. However, all the other altcoins, including Ethereum, are not that popular and not that adopted, despite the fact that we are having Ethereum ETFs too. So I think that for the industry, it's actually very good. The competition increasing, there is more and more L1s and L2s on the market. So every project needs to constantly adapt, build, change, and build and create more good for the users. And then the users will evaluate it, and basically the price will depend on whether users are believing in this project and buying it. So hopefully, I wish all the best for the Ethereum. Vitalik is obviously a genius, and I'm sure they will find new ways of the new use cases for Ethereum soon.
All right, let's talk about Binance, because all the trends we discussed obviously have a direct result on the Binance, which remains the biggest crypto exchange in the world. How did all the trends translate to Binance's financial performance, and how liquid are you? How's the company doing?
So, as you know, we've gone through this U.S. litigation and U.S. Settlement agreement because of the historical issues that CZ and the company has acknowledged as being a mistakes. There was a lot of the claims from the U.S. authorities, and only 2 of them were actually proven and acknowledged that we didn't meet all the required AML requirements back in the days. It's a period of 2017-2019, if I'm not mistaken, and that we were servicing US customers somewhere back in the days too. So these were our mistakes. We acknowledged these mistakes, and based on this settlement, CZ has to step down from the CEO position. We paid one of the biggest fines in the history of $4.3 billion. And CZ himself, he was sentenced to the 4 months in prison. So it definitely was shocking. I don't know how to say it other ways for us at Binance and for CZ and overall community, right? From what he did to the industry, his contribution, have such a outcome was basically shocking. But it is what it is, and since then there was a significant changes at Binance, both on the corporate structure level and the compliance level, to make sure there is no such mistakes ever in any countries of the world in the future. So we now have the independent board of the company. We have now more than 650 compliance experts in our company, best in class, best in the industry. We have 2 monitors from the US authorities that are monitoring daily all our compliance procedures, one from the FinCEN, another one is from the DOJ, who are monitoring everything that we are doing. And it's actually a positive sign. We call it a Binance 2.0 because it adds such a credibility for us, because the problems we have gone through now, from the compliance perspective, this is already Binance 2.0. And we are obviously the most compliant and the most licensed exchange in the world. And provided all these controls we have implemented and all this monitoring that's done by the US authorities, no one could have any concerns or issue that Binance is not complying in any of the products, in any of our operations, and in any of the markets. So it's actually what happened to us was very shocking, but eventually it's very positive for the company in terms of transformations and for our users, who now have much more comfort and credibility in everything that's happening in Binance and are having absolutely no concerns of all our process.
Do you see the future where Binance is a listed exchange on the stock exchange?
So I recently heard from CZ tweet that the listing, basically the going public, right, is not the way forward at the moment, and Binance is not for sale too. This is what CZ recently said. There is, I don't know what shareholders are thinking, but currently I think we're doing very well. We have fixed the compliance, all these historical issues, and we are getting into more and more markets. So we are really self-sufficient. We don't have any loans from anyone. We don't have any debt as the company. And basically our model is very simple. That we just charge the minimum fees, minimum commissions from our users from the trades, right? So the business model is very sustainable and very profitable. So I wouldn't surprised if the shareholders are not seeking for any additional investment, because from the business model perspective, we don't need it.
Another brief question. After CZ stepped down, Richard Tang became the CEO. What new did he bring to the table?
So I was working for a while with Richard as my direct manager, and I really enjoyed it because he's completely different person than CZ, right? So CZ is the fire and the hurricane, and there is no chill when CZ was around. Whether the Richard personally and emotionally is very different person, right? He's very calm, he's very wise, he's very structured. And most importantly, he really understands what's happening at the regulatory level in all the countries, because Richard himself historically was working for one of the key regulators in the world, Singaporean regulator, MAS, and Abu Dhabi regulator. So Richard really driving us to this Binance 2.0 vision. To cover all these potential misconceptions about compliance and partnering with the regulators across the globe. So it's definitely a new type of leadership, and Richard is an amazing leader. So I learned a lot from him too.
And the last question is about Georgia. We have recently, well, not recently, but roughly 2 years ago, the change in the regulation. Now all the companies have to register as WASPs. What is the stance in the process? Where are you in the process right now?
We are operating in Georgia on the reverse solicitation basis. So we do no marketing. We do no local events, no affiliates programs, no angels programs, no VIP programs, no nothing. So basically reverse solicitation is when you are not present in the country, but Georgian users can go online, and if they decide to find Binance and use the Binance product, they can. They can use all the products that Binance have. This is our approach to all the markets that has the licensing process, but where we decided not to apply directly, right? So for every company, it's an interesting decision to be made, whether to apply, build the local operations, local office, local compliance team, a lot of people, and to be able to do marketing, or go to the reverse solicitation and in no way solicit local users. So this is currently our situation, but we are in the very close communication with the regulator, and we are currently evaluating our strategy, our short-term strategy, what's going to happen in this way. So hopefully we will be able to do much more for our Georgian users soon in terms of the marketing engagement, community, etc. And actually just today I'm going to be meeting the regulator. I want to say that your regulator is one of the best I have seen around the world. Very open, very professional, and very open for the suggestions, for the different information around the globe, so really listens to the business, not just regulating business by the enforcement as we discussed. So I think for the Georgia is going to be a very positive thing, and eventually with this regulation and with this approach from the regulator, Georgia will really become the regional hub for the wider region for the crypto.
Yeah, that's what CZ mentioned during his visit a few years back. I don't remember the exact date. I was there at the press conference. He said that Georgia should become a regional hub for crypto. And let's see, and let's hope that that's how it will turn out. Kyrylo, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you very much.
The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.